All right, here we go.
Parte Del Piero, rete Del Piero.
Pallone con il contagini per Nedved, gol! Pirlo, la conclusione in rete! Andrea Pirlo, un gol pazzesco! Del Piero, gol! Alex Del Piero!
Palla di Pogacar, Pogba, rete! Un gol incredibile! Pogba fa esplodere lo Juventus Stadium!
Buongiorno.
Still works.
Buongiorno. Come ha detto lei, buongiorno.
I'm gonna milk that baby as long as Dushan's part of our team, man. I'm sorry. I'm a sucker for it.
What are you going to replace it with?
What am I gonna? Oh, that's a good question, man. I don't know. You effers don't make the sound drops, and there's requests all over the place. This was a difficult one. I'm gonna keep this one. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Farhad. I'm the host that loves you most, as always, and I truly mean it. I love all of our listeners because you guys rock. Yeah, we're back with episode number 302 of the Turin Giants podcast. Our summer series continues after we gave you guys a couple of scoop episodes. I'm here with Zach and our new addition, Jack. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.
Jack is I'm telling you, we're gonna try him out for a couple of episodes. The criteria to get on this podcast is literally tell me, oh, I like your podcast. Literally, that's it. 80% of the people that have been on the podcast just literally wrote me, hey, I like the podcast.
Right? There's some hazing involved here. Right?
We'll get to that. That's off-air conversation, my friend. But anyways, Jack is from New Jersey, and he reached out. I don't remember where, on Reddit?
Instagram.
Yes. Yeah. Let me just touch on that. We are always looking for reinforcements. People are busy. Sometimes we need co-hosts, and during the summer we'll try a few people out, see what the audience thinks, and yeah, we're always down to add people. The more the merrier. We love the company. We love talking Juve, and talk about Juve with Shal, of course. Like Zach mentioned in the pre-podcast meeting, believe it or not, we do have those. He said it was nice to watch Juve at night when there's darkness outside, right, Zach?
Yeah, just kick up your feet, crack open a beer, and just relax, and not have to worry about going back to work, or juggling various responsibilities. So that was actually an underrated part of watching a night game.
I know people are down on this World Cup, but I think they're still working out the kinks. It's still first few days, but if you add the audience, there's been some great games happening. Am I wrong? Jack, what do you think? What has been your favorite game so far if you've been watching?
Favorite game so far was probably the PSG game, aside from last night, obviously. Probably the PSG game. I saw a balanced game in the first half, and then they kind of took over. It's been really interesting, though, to see some of these lesser teams. I think you guys have touched on this in the past, right? It's a big deal for some of them, right? They can win some serious money when you look at the percentage of their budget that it would reflect.
Yeah, and
a lot of teams are taking it pretty seriously. I've only seen a couple of one-offs that were just like, how did that get scheduled, or why is that stadium so empty? But
3 p.m. in Atlanta. It's like, come on, on a weekday. But yeah, scheduling has been a problem. But thank you for mentioning our previous podcast, which was Sans Me. It was Zach, Freddie, Patrick, and Kevin hosting the show. That was the Club World Cup preview, which was an hour and change of great information breakdown. I listened to it on the way home from work. It was great. Yeah, the boys literally broke down the financials, the group stages, everything was really good. I actually love listening to this podcast when I'm not on it because I'm like the worst part of this podcast. But yeah, please check out that episode. Also, please let me mention Turin Giants, The Scoop, Zach and Freddie. Frederick. Freddie Scoops is killer. Great podcast about all the. You do the intro, Zach.
All right,
I love it. I love your serious intro. Do it.
I don't know if it's serious, but the whole point about Turin Giants presents The Scoop is to present all of the, or at least maybe the most notable transfer rumors in one place, while also leveraging Frederick's insider Juventus knowledge to cut through the noise of the rumors and bullshit to really focus on what's really happening, or to provide color to what is being reported in the various publications and so forth. So I think, being able to put it in one place and to provide that inside context has been a really joy for us to do. And based on feedback we've received, people do seem to enjoy it. So please continue to give us your feedback, predominantly through Instagram, as well as to ask questions. If there's a certain player or a certain rumor that we haven't touched on, send it in and we'll make sure to touch on it in the next episode.
So far, Freddie's record is unmatched. I'm sorry, people went down, came down on him because of Conte, but that was at the time when Freddie was reporting it. It was true. So the rest of the stuff is I wouldn't put it in. Like, to be honest, I wouldn't put someone I don't trust on. And so far, we've been blessed with Freddie Scoop. So, speaking of Zach,
play the other drop.
Giants up for Detroit.
I got you.
A lovely city.
The guy who hates drops has two. So it makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, man. I've been away from the podcast. You're gonna hear a lot of drops today.
Oh God.
What do you guys want to get into first? TurinGiants.com, of course. Please check out our website. Delle Alpe shirts are still being produced and being sent out. Thank you all for your orders.
I do a quick general shout, Farhad.
Yeah, man. Go ahead, Jack.
Anybody who's listening, I think it's so important. All of our official Juve organizations need support. If you're a listener and you're not part of your local fan club, get online, try to find them, try to sign up. They have such great activities. I'm attending this Sunday's game with my kids. We're doing a meet and greet. I don't know who's going to be there yet, but there's so many great activities, fun things to do with the fam.
Absolutely.
Check out your local official fan club and sign up. Just want to put that out there. That's how I found, my community that I've been interacting with recently. So definitely a good time and a lot of fun people to meet.
Man after my own heart. I love promoting local fan clubs, and Juve fan clubs are blowing up. It's quite an endeavor. Shout outs to John, who runs every North American fan club. It's a lot of work. I don't know how he does it, but he goes to games. He's been traveling with the team, and you've seen the footage of the team traveling. I think they did a pretty good job, and we'll get into more of that. But yeah, it's been a fun tour so far. J Village, I think that's what they call it. I'm going to the game in Orlando, so if anyone wants to join, get in touch with me at Turin Giants on Instagram. Would love to meet. I think our friend Uncle Beppe is going to be in Orlando. He's been traveling with the team, following. So yeah, no, thanks for mentioning that, because Juve comes to America a lot, and now that we have the nuclear codes, I think they'll be traveling here a lot more. So join your local fan club. Uh-oh. Look who's here. We forgot to mention the special guest. You know what? I'm gonna remove you for now.
Sam's trying to join. He can't find his webcam. Something.
All right. Juventus in America. The journey began yesterday. Started out with a bang. 5-0 first game. What'd you guys think? Let's talk about the the pregame activities first. What you guys thought about the starting lineup, which, if I may say, I love that the teams brought their strongest lineups. It's so refreshing to see. Um, not a bunch of second stringers like they usually do in these summer tours. Then when they come here with the teams. Um, Zach, you're our lineup guy. What you thought? Now that Tudor had a little bit of chance to figure out the team. What did you think about the starting lineup?
Yeah, I think we all were wondering and curious to what extent we'd see a rotated side, and not necessarily second stringers. Maybe throw a Douglas Luiz in there to give him a start, see what he can do to kind of play for his spot. Maybe some of the returning loan players like Kostic, maybe see him out on the left to start out. But the starting lineup we saw, based on who was fit, was largely the starting 11 we could have seen at the end of the season. And just like you said, and so it was a clear signal that Tudor came to play and to ensure that we dominated this game to make sure that we're starting on the right foot to get through to the next round. And ultimately, I think our play was indicative of that mentality, as well as a team that was in good cohesion. So not too many rotations meant we could. These are folks that are used to playing together. That was demonstrated on the pitch.
So Kelly, Savona, Kalulu, of course, Di Gregorio in goal, Cambiaso, Thuram, McKennie with a captain's armband, Costa on the right, Conceição up front with Yildiz next to him, and Colomwani up top. What do you think about Colomwani and his?
I think we're going to talk. I think we're going to talk a bit about both.
Yeah, that was random. That was random. Let's go back a little bit.
yeah. Let's rewind. But I think we will be talking about Colomani and Conceição because of the implications or the potential that they that Comoli wants to keep them for this next season. So I think we're definitely going to focus on their performance and how they'll fit in with Tudor's tactics, not only in this game but throughout this tournament.
All right.
I'd throw in like the pregame fanfare. I find a bit interesting, particularly that stare down that they have now between the two starting lineups, how they face each other. I'm just really curious what the players think of that.
No,
some of them
like
are
rugby.
eye contact, and then I was hoping to see Gatti in that lineup staring down someone on the other side.
Well, Gatti does look like he's about to murder someone with the new haircut. But yeah, I kind of dig it, man. I like the pregame handshakes instead of going, one team. I liked it. I enjoyed that, World Cup folks, FIFA folks are taking this seriously. Instead of like we've been, as Americans, we have to go to these summer tournaments. And I feel like the lack of fanfare, as you called it, Jack, kind of kills it for me. Give us a little show because people are spending a lot of money on these games. And I feel like the attendance, which we'll also talk about, that reflects it. The fact that people have been burned before. But I like it. I like the pregame ritual and introducing something new. Of course, it's a new tournament, so they'll work out the kinks. But before we get into the podcast a little further, my Canadian stepson, Sam Adamo.
Oh,
What's up, buddy?
We're doing sound effects. I thought I was your nephew. How are you? I'm sorry for the setup. I mean,
You're good.
This is crazy. It's been a little while since I've been on, and you just
It has been a while.
You look like Pat McAfee.
I know.
Outstanding. I have a lampshade here. I have a ring light that won't turn on. I look like I'm giving a hostage video right now.
You do look like you're enjoying.
I look like I'm being held hostage in the Al Ain training ground underneath.
And they gave you.
Abu Dhabi.
Oh, here we go, Sam. All right, if you guys have never heard Sam, this sound effect has literally been invented for him to stop, because if you don't stop my man, he will talk. He will keep talking. But we love him. We love him dearly. He knows a lot about Juve. Sam, really quickly, give us your latest endeavors, because you've got a lot going on. He's an aspiring comedian. He's got a YouTube show. let's get the stuff out of the way so we can get to Juve.
Aspiring means you haven't started, and we're
Really?
years in now. We're years in.
See what I get for trying
comedian.
to plug you, trying to plug your show.
A failing comedian.
You're not
Aspiring
failing.
comedians haven't started yet. Failing comedians are in the process and are not yet fully professional and are on a very long and arduous path to that effect. Yeah, but my time on the show predates all that, right? But so in your mind, I'm still aspiring. Yeah. What do I have to do to become one in your mind? That's actually a good.
Sam, just plug your YouTube.
I have a podcast. It's called The Wordello. You could listen to it. It used to be called the Calcio Podcast. We still talk a lot about football, but I wanted to also be able to talk about Iran and stuff. So like we changed the name. So now we can talk about anything. It's a mess, like my life.
If you want to see a man's descent into madness within an hour, talking to himself,
yeah.
he will literally go from talking about.
I lost my producer because he got a job. He graduated school and he's I got to join the workforce now. So I really am just talking to myself. It's me talking to my girlfriend now or to myself. So
we've lost plenty of co-hosts that we lost to corporate shills. But anyways, Sam, we love you, buddy. I will need to do this a lot.
That's okay. I know. I mean, I love your setup. It looks terrific. I came in a few minutes into the show just trying to set up I was trying to get my setup going, and this is the setup. Isn't it funny?
That's all right.
It's like he's trying to get it running. It's gonna look great. He's gonna be coming in a few minutes into the show, and bang! It's this. It literally looks like I was granted. I'm not granted like visitation privileges, but I was allowed a little bit of decor. So I was allowed 2 pieces of artwork in my prison cell is what this looks like.
Beautiful. No, it's all good, man. Most importantly, we can hear you. If you can turn up your mic just a little bit, that would help. All right,
Sure.
boys. There you go.
Okay.
So let's get back into it.
Well, can I ask you guys a question here, just about like your overall opinions on the tournament? Because this is the first post-match pod since it began. Sure. I mean, I know the tournament's been running for a little while now. It's like over a week, or it feels like almost a week. But I guess it being the first time we're doing a deep dive Juve-wise, this feels appropriate to ask. Do you guys actually? Does it not feel like it's a fever dream? Like it's a Mickey Mouse tournament. It feels very weird to have to try to care about it, right? Like the commentary is like, oh, and another one for Juventus, but it almost feels like you ever watch college sports, like low level, like maybe NCAA Division II college sports, where it's like journalist majors who are like doing the play-by-play coverage, and it's important to them, and they kind of want to sell it, but it's like no one cares, or like women's soccer sometimes.
Listen, no, you're kind of right.
You're like, a goal for New York Gothams, and it's like, okay, it was a scorcher from 45 yards out. It bounced twice and went into the net, and we're pretending it's exciting.
The production could be a little better. First of all, the zone apparently is the only one, and they just the free versions of apps they just make you buy them. They do everything possible for you to purchase that. Because the ad in the middle of the game, just blocking the TV, please upgrade to a premium, or ad where the screen becomes smaller and then there's a Bank of America app is just ridiculous.
Louis C.K. has talked about that. It's like I'm watching a fight on DAZN that I paid for on an app that I paid for, and there's ads during that. I mean, when does it end? Yeah, no.
But going back to the commentating, it can be a little better. But I think
everything, the whole aura of the whole thing, it feels kind of, it's weird, right? Like no one cares about this, but FIFA's kind of pretending like this is the be all end all. And it's like, no, these are our slaves that we're like whipping and saying, go keep playing. It's June. Some of these guys they're on loan still, and technically they're still our employees. So go back to work.
Jack, what do you think? Sam. This is Jack's first appearance on the show, so we'll kind of throw some questions at him.
Sure.
See
Sorry,
if
Jack,
we want him
coming in
back.
a bit hot here, but what do you think, Jack? What do you think about my commentary about women's soccer? You're facing down the barrel of a really hard question on camera.
No, you came in hot. You came in hot with a career. Comedy.
Talk about your opinion on women's soccer and compare it to the FIFA Club World Cup. Your first time on camera. Go, Jack. Yes.
Yeah, I would. I'm going to throw you a little bit of a bone because the comment about women's soccer did make me think of something. First, I would say I would reserve my opinions about this FIFA Club World Cup at least until we get into the knockouts.
That's
right? I think
fair.
we're going to see a lot of the same during this group stage. Number two, the little white in the beard might indicate I have a couple years on you guys. So I will go back to 94, 95, or I think it was 95, 96, the first year of the of MLS. Felt very much the same way.
It does.
They had that weird PK rule to divide games and divvy up points and stuff. Like all of that gave me that same vibe that you're referring to, right? Like, why do I care? And I hope to a certain degree that FIFA's playing the long game here, because with a tournament like this every 4 years, if they're going to continue to give away $1 billion, they're going to have teams who participate, who come in and play hard to try to win some cash, right? To flood or to build their coffers. The football hasn't been lighting it up. There's been some good play, but with the mismatched teams, I haven't been uber impressed by that many games. But most teams seem to have brought their lineup. So I'm going to hold my opinion till we get into the knockouts.
I think there's two parts to it. On one hand, we're not used to this type of competition, so it just feels different. It doesn't feel right.
It's corporate.
It's over commercialized, so it definitely feels like they're shoving it in your face. The lack of crowds, and even when there's a decent crowd, the lack of, at least from a TV audience standpoint, a degree of atmosphere. Like the Juve game, it seemed very quiet in the stadium. So I think all of those kind of made it strange, but mostly because it's new and different, I think. We'll see how this develops, as Jack said. But I think at the core of it, as someone who just loves watching football and loves watching Juventus, having the opportunity to do this in the summer for games that are meaningful in the terms of prize money is something that I enjoyed. That is not necessarily me advocating that we should have this tournament. I have no control in that. We have it, and it gives us an opportunity to enjoy the team and the sport that we love. And I'm not going to say no to that since it's right here for the taking.
Yeah, I mean it's good time with the kids. I watched it with my children yesterday, which was why not? But yeah, you're right. 4 year feels like what's this guy's name? Infantino. It feels like it's his, no pun intended, his baby, his infant. Are they able to keep the momentum going in 4 years? We'll see. Maybe they'll make it better. But so far so good. We've seen some players that it's just cool to see the around the game activities, like them visiting American, maybe because it's in America, it's closer to us.
That's just your own perspective, because it's cool to see it at home. I think the rest of the world watches football in America and says this feels weird. I don't know why. The World Cup is going to be there in a year.
There's no crowds or chanting.
Yeah, but hopefully the World Cup will feel proper. But it feels like anything else is just MLS in '94 is a good shout from Jack, but I think even the Gold Cup feels odd. It's just hard. It's a tough sell to say, yeah, we care about this when the stadiums are half empty. Or it's again, not to keep shitting or dunking on women's soccer here, but it's a tough sell to pretend that we care about women's soccer when we're making them play on turf. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, this is very important. All right, go kill yourselves on this health hazard of a surface. It's like,
is there
we
turf?
Don't really care.
Is there fake turf in this World Cup?
Well,
no.
we would never dare let the men play on turf, but women are, because no, but it's true. I mean, we throw.
They have
the
soft
wolves.
bones. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah,
anytime Infantino says something's important, it irks me. I don't want to care. I feel like it's being forced down my throat. Anytime
he's hateable, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Of course,
he's kind of hateable.
FIFA's evil. There's evil oozes off of that whole entire organization. And it just feels, it'd be nice to have someone. How great would it be if I were the president of FIFA?
Oh
for
my
example?
God! I mean, anything
Doesn't
with
have to be
adversity
me.
would be gone.
It doesn't have to be me, okay? But just a guy who says, "What are we doing here?"
Yeah,
Just
No,
whatever. I
agree.
don't know, like Silvio Berlusconi. If you could bring him back to life, and he comes back and says, "Oh well, women's soccer has a little bit of potential because." Not for the competitive side, but because men are horny, like just stuff like that. Like maybe that's a little much.
Sam. We have 7% of women listening to this podcast.
Well, ask how many of them would prefer to watch, Juve's women team. I'm saying, it's kind of it feels like it would be cool if the FIFA president could be honest about
Scudetto
something.
winning
That's
Juventus
right.
women's team.
Didn't know, never watched. But that's me personally, But
All right.
But it would be interesting if the FIFA president could be honest and say, "Yeah, look, no one cares about the U20 World Cup, but listen, all right, we're doing it in Malaysia just cause." You don't have to say this is a great place. We're going to grow the game over. It's the corporate speech. Yeah. I get it. You're putting money into it. You're getting your pockets stuffed. Probably still covertly. You have to pretend that we love Qatar. We love Qatar. This is a great place to visit. Oh, okay, yeah. We can't wait for the World Cup in Saudi Arabia in a couple of years. It's great for the game and for the country as a whole. All right, they're paying you money. And you're going back to the Middle East for the next World Cup.
Sam, I think you're conflating two things. I mean, you're kind of touching on whether we should have this tournament. Well, we have it. There's nothing we can do about it, and so
I don't like Infantino.
That's
talking
fine.
about anything like it matters.
That's fine. But with the tournament that we have no choice in, I think one thing that we touch on is how are they executing it, and I think from a crowd standpoint, and we touched on a lot of this stuff, so I think it's fair to move on. But I think maybe the most important point came from Jack to say that we're still figuring it out, and let's see how it develops. Certainly, we knew some of these games were going to be like the Juventus game yesterday. Let's see how this tournament grows. Let's see how some of these players from certain teams and regions we're not familiar with maybe start to shine and drive that passion that we all love. So
watch us lose to Al Riyadh. Watch us lose to Al Riyadh in like 3 days.
They're good.
I'm like, this is a joke of a tournament. What are we doing here? Just lose to a team from Morocco.
My beef with the tournaments, with the game yesterday particularly, was you need to mic the crowd, because I know there was a lot of UF fans there. It was in the stands. It was a lot louder than it showed on. It was giving COVID vibes. Like you can hear a pin drop there.
Yeah.
So that was my problem, is the production. We need to move on, Sam. What's up, buddy?
Oh, okay, it's fine. I mean, this was just a conversation. I know. We're talking about the game, right?
We haven't touched on the actual game yet. That's why.
Well, so let me throw this over to you guys. What do you guys make of the goal song, of playing Juve Storia di un grande amore, the victory song after every goal? It's like, stop scoring. Like after 3 goals, I'm like,
to me, it was funny that they didn't crop out the chorus itself, but it would start all over. If any of the listeners get this reference, it's a reference from Parks and Rec. Get on your feet. A lot of people love Parks and Rec, and there's a part where the song they were introducing someone with, it kept starting over because they couldn't pay royalties for the entire song, so they kept starting it over. That it gave those vibes. But yeah, it was funny that the song to celebrate the goal kept starting over 5 times in a row. But yeah,
did you guys also find it strange, or were you like, this is good?
I enjoyed that it actually went into the chorus. If it would stop, it would be kind of weird, but I dug it. It's something for people to sing. I don't think they expected 5 times.
And think of it though from an exposure to potential new fans standpoint. I mean, it adds a cultural angle to Juventus. If somebody who's like, hey, there's some European football, what team might I want to root for? Oh, this Juventus team put 5 best. I mean, to be able to be introduced to sort of our anthem here and different players. I mean, I think it was a really good showcase from our team, our young talent, for and the culture of the team. So from that perspective, I thought it was a very good advertisement to people who might be curious about Italian football or Juventus in itself. As a Juventus fan, maybe it was a little weird, but I think a lot of what this tournament is about, and something personally, selfishly, as an American Juventus fan, is let's expand the fandom of our club in this country, to like what Jack was saying about getting more clubs and more activity in clubs across the country. And so I think that was, to that end, I think it was a positive.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I almost find clearly that's where football is going now, is let's grow this. Let's take this ship as globally as we can. I mean, we've been seeing preseason trips or postseason trips. In the case of Man United a couple weeks ago, I think they had to go on, like, after an awful season, they had to go on like a tour of Asia. And granted, that was for sponsorship reasons, but in July, Real Madrid's in Singapore. It's like that ain't for charitable reasons. It's because there's a marketing. Well, right. That's the idea, is we're actually gonna come in and take over any prospective football fandom of the local club. That's what it is. What it comes down to. Zach, you're a Sounders guy, right? You're in Seattle.
I am not.
Are you not in Seattle?
I am neither a Sounders guy nor in Seattle.
Where are you located?
Houston.
Okay, I don't know why I thought you were in Seattle. I don't know why I thought that, but okay. So you're in Houston. Are you from there?
No.
All right. After the match,
I think we got, just real quick, I think we also have to apply some perspective here, right? I think we're looking at this as Juve fans, and Juventus obviously would have their top priority be to expand their brand. But I think FIFA is just trying to build fans for next summer. I don't think they care about the individual club brands, to be perfectly honest.
You're probably right.
They're doing a crappy job.
It's a test run in a lot of ways too, from an infrastructure, from a logistics standpoint, and all that stuff. They're going to apply what they learned from this to the World Cup.
It's the Confederation Cup, right? It's the Confederation Cup for clubs.
I mean, it's just like in 1998, before France, there was I forget the name, Tournée de France or something like that, where Roberto Carlos scored his famous free kick. That was a preparation for the World Cup as well. Just, I hope they work out the kinks. Moving on to the game. After the match, head coach Igor Tudor shared his thoughts with DAZN, which is, by the way, that's not how it's pronounced, DAZN, highlighting both his satisfaction and his vision for the team. I'm happy they pushed at the start, but we responded in the right way. Did they? Did they push at the start? It's a great result, great confidence, and a great start, Tudor said, emphasizing the team's positive mentality and the strong foundation laid in their opening match. We went hard in the second half. I told the players to lower the tempo a little bit because of the heat, to manage the game more. We could have done better there, but this squad has interesting players. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to read the whole thing. By the way, I'm referencing juvenewslive.com, which is our friend Rav's website. He's back, baby. juvenewslive.com. Please check it out. A website dedicated entirely to Juventus. Great graphics, great articles, some good reading pieces. But yeah, that's what Tudor had to say. I think he's being a little too kind to his opponents there, that they pushed from the start. The team we were playing was awful.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think they could still do it. It's still 0-0. I want to see them. I want to see them against Man City. I think they have they have an interesting shot. Man City, everyone's saying Man City's falling apart right now, and Pep doesn't have it anymore. She's gonna beat up these U23 guys from the Emirates like 12-0. Do you think that if we beat them 5-0, how do you think we can get to double digits? Do you think they could hit a Bayern Munich versus New Zealand? I also best export score. I mean, they were not good. They were really. I
also don't think I don't think they'll allow themselves to lose that badly. So Man City's kind of getting the Alain that has been hurt. So maybe they'll improve their performance. But we need Man City to drop the points.
You think that Matias Palacios? I looked it up on Wikipedia. Emirati citizen Matias Palacios will have a lot of pride against Man City. I saw that. I wonder if Matias Palacios is a U23 player for the United Arab Emirates. Very interesting. I saw that. I enjoyed reading that, because normally, like I read the anytime I look at the squads of these clubs in Saudi Arabia, the Middle East, right, Qatar, and I see local flag, I kind of just, the names all kind of morph into one. They don't stand out, but that one stood out to me. I thought that was kind of interesting. I was like, I want to see Matias
He's a native.
Palacios.
I think there's a couple things though to keep in
Uruguayan?
mind. Like just because they had a bad game, I mean, there's a lot of things at play. Clearly, they're still adapting to their relatively recent appointment, their coach. They did struggle this year relative to their body of work, but I mean, these are athletes. They have pride, and I think that they were embarrassed against Juventus, and they're going to try harder and do the little things that they just weren't doing against Juventus. I wouldn't be surprised if they snap back and come up with a lot more fire than they showed up against Juve, because after the first 10 minutes, they looked leggy and they looked nervous. So the coach and the players, they stand up together. They have some point of pride, where Man City, they're not going to go into that game against Alain thinking they have to prove anything, which you cannot be said for their opponent. So I do not think they're going to win, but I don't think you're going to see a 12-0 bloodbath. I think you're going to see a team playing for their pride, not necessarily to win. And those and that type of game, it should be closer.
It really does feel like the Saudi teams are just a cut above. I know Al Hilal are the best team in that, probably in that region. So it's not a real surprise that they went toe to toe at Real Madrid, but it is a little bit. I mean, I guess because they have a really strong squad relative to, I mean, most teams in the world. They have a lot of big names, Al Hilal referring to, but they do have a few Saudi players peppered in there who we don't tend to see as much elsewhere. So you don't really know what you get from them, right? Because we just don't get exposed to them except for like at the World Cup. I mean, there is that guy, Al-Dawasadi, who's like the left winger who played very well in 2022 against Argentina. I think he scored that goal. I think it's the same guy, common name. But like, I don't know. That was surprising to me to see how well Al Hilal did. It made me realize, I think like that's the only real team in that region, though. As much money as there is around there, they're the only guys that have really kind of built like a proper competitive squad. But if you look at, just on paper who they have from top to bottom, it's a club that's on level with like maybe a top European club. Otherwise, you look at Al Ain, you say, yeah, well, they're professional. You watch them play, and you go, yeah, it's a pro football club. I'm looking forward to actually seeing them against Wiyad in the last game, because it'll be two teams playing for pride, two Arab teams playing against each other. I know they're from very different regions, but I don't know. I don't know how many Arab v Arab teams there are in
Jack. What'd you think about about Juve yesterday, Jack? Sorry, Sam.
Listen, I thought they had some pretty good ball movement between the lines. I thought when they pressed high, they looked better than when they didn't. I know you read that quote from Tudor. He's asking them to kind of not to sit back, but to slow the pace down in the second half, which we saw definitely. But they weren't afforded much opposition, right? A highlight in my head is that run from Chico in the second half from like somewhere 25 yards outside his own box, all the way into the other box. And he was on, no one challenged him. Like that would never happen in Serie A or in a UEFA competition. Someone would have been on him on that ball before he got to midfield.
I wanted to actually thank you for that. I wanted to ask Zach about Chico. We're here promoting side project called The Scoop. So, what's the scoop on Chico? I know he's with us for the remainder of the World Cup, but beyond that, what do you hear? What do you say?
So the news from within the organization, or the word from within the organization, is that they want him to stay, but they want to discount. And you have Chico, who's out to prove himself in this tournament to Tudor that he deserves to stay. Well, a performance like yesterday might convince Tudor that he needs to join, but is certainly not going to do us any help on getting a discount. I think you're going to see. Negotiations kind of on the side throughout this competition that are going to hit a fever pitch after the competition, and may very well depend on how far we go, and that every round we go in the elimination round is extra money, potentially big bucks. And when Real Madrid is a potential first round opponent in the knockout stage, it's something we're just going to have to keep close eyes on, and may very well affect our ability to bring in Conceição and or Colomwani, both of whom we are pursuing to keep long term.
Who we need desperately, I think. Also, by the way, just based on who's in the team right now, how the team looked before their arrivals. I mean, I know Conceição played the whole season with us, but Colomwani coming in mid-season was. I mean, it was a breath of fresh air. I don't know.
It was a
I don't know.
Great header from him yesterday. That's a real forwards header right there.
Yeah,
baby.
I don't know where you guys are at on Vlahovic, but I don't know. Kolomani was able to do a whole hell of a lot in a couple months.
I don't know. I don't even think Vlahovic cares anymore. Honestly, it's he came out 15, 20 minutes.
Visiting
the White House, 71st minute.
Visiting the White House. Visiting the first Serie A team to ever get to visit the White House, potentially at the lowest point of the last 15 years, maybe league wise. Not as champions. Just Dusan Vlahovic going from bad to worse. Just fucking just probably hates the U.S. regime from Belgrade. Just from a former Yugoslavian republic. Just having to stare down the barrel of the U.S. president, who's asking them about their views on transgenders in sports. It's like, shouldn't you be talking to Bibi Netanyahu right now? What the hell is going on? Why is Juve at the White House?
Juve at the White House. We'll leave that alone. But yeah, it's
Vlahovic's face. Just Vlahovic's face in the White House. He's like, what's going on with my life right now? I'm getting some guy comes in from PSG.
Sam, I think we park.
I
think we park the White House stuff. But I think you did raise an interesting question.
We'll talk about it on the Bordello podcast next week. The White House stuff and the globalization of football. The point I was going to get to when I asked you if you were a Sounders fan, which was shut down, but the fact that I think that football is becoming like F1. I'm realizing now the wheels are turning. We're going to talk about hyper-local football versus global football in the next episode of the Bordello, where we don't talk about matches ever, because I don't have the focus to do that. I'm too ADD. We go macro. We go macro. Sorry, yes. Zach. Yes, go.
You raised kind of an interesting, or at least a question in my mind is, if you had to choose between Chico or Kolomwani, just because we only have the money to bring in one, which one do you keep? And maybe I'll throw that to Jack first.
I'm probably right now keeping Kolomwani because I can see Nico Gonzalez being successful on that wing if he has to, because we're not displacing Yildiz for Nico.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, so that's initial assessment. That's probably what I would say if I had to pick one right now on the spot.
Farhad, what do you think?
I love my boy Chico. I love that Juve have this guy that will tire defenses out, and we've seen him do that. I just love that kind of player. That when he gets the ball, he goes. His focus is on getting into the box, and let's see what happens. I just enjoy a player with flair like that. Kolomani hasn't showed me anything. Hasn't shown me anything mind blowing yet. He's been decent, but if I had to choose, it would be my boy Chico.
Farhad.
Stylistically, I agree, Farhad, but I was just going based on need, right?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, but you know, Conceição is the type of guy who, if your son plays football, you want him to be that guy. You want to be like, look at my boy go. You always send us videos of your son playing, Farhad. I mean, you imagine if you just want him to want the ball, be the guy that when he gets it out wide, he's going into the box, he's taking guys on. It's just, he
doesn't get tired.
No one thinks you take what you can get. It's a cool thing if your kid plays top play football, but you don't think to yourself, yeah, I want Federico Gatti. I want a guy who's a hard man. I mean, it's nice. Maybe I'm sure some English guys who go to pubs regularly would be like, I want my boy to be fucking proper. But like, I think, you don't really think, yeah, it'd be cool if my son could be, a positionally aware guy who's in the right spot at the right time. I want my son to be Pippo Inzaghi. No, you want him to be fucking Conceição. You want him to be Chiesa. You want him to be a guy who's like, give me the ball and we're going to do something with it right now.
And you know what else Conceição
It's hard not
does?
to love him for that reason.
Very underrated. He gets us fouls. He dives a lot. Don't get me wrong. He embellishes the shit out of every foul.
That's great. He's little. He knows how to use his body. It's what he's supposed to do.
He gets us in good, free kick positions sometimes, which is kind of an underrated part of his game. Let's talk about it. I want to go to Zach. A hidden gem so far. This guy, Alberto Costa, kind of came out of nowhere. People are like, okay, another guy named Costa. Who cares? We've had a million of them. And now he's trying. God bless him. You look at him. He's trying his best, right?
It's not about trying. It's about doing. I think for most, after we got him in, we didn't see him at all. We're like, who is this guy? This rando, right? That Juntali brought in. But as soon as even in the first 2 appearances, which were these just garbage time, end of game, 10 minutes a piece type appearances, you could see that he had pace and he had some skill with the ball. And then as the season ended, to actually see him get significant minutes, to see his contribution, sort of the rawness of his game, but the potential really meant that really showed us that there's a player there. And I think getting and seeing this production yesterday, albeit against a weaker team, I think when you play a weaker team, you can it almost, I think, accentuates the polls, right? The people who aren't good, who fail to shine against poor opposition, which there are a couple players of ours on that front, or the people who especially shine and you can really see the upside of their game. And he was example of the latter, showing his control of that right wing, where they tried to play down the left wing for much of that first 15 minutes. It didn't work. When they switched to the right wing with Costa and Conceição, we then came to life, and he definitely deserved his 2 assists. I mean, this is a guy that during the season played less than 400 minutes. I mean, so I think he's just this recent,
like 2 games.
It's nothing. So it's this recent. Your math, Farhad. Maybe not the best, but it's not a lot. And so his rapid and recent rise has been really refreshing and encouraging, because it's a tournament like this where you have the opportunity to see a player like Costa emerge, and he's seemingly taking advantage of the moment.
And that assist to Colomani, that was a first touch, right?
Yeah, there was like a 3-pass exchange of first touches, I think, from Thuram to Kalulu to Costa, who then sort of lofted this back post cross where Colomani just simply outleapt. He did just he got priority position and then outleapt his defender and put it in the.
Yeah, let's not gloss over that. That assist was great. So yeah, we definitely need some reinforcements.
Yeah, because having weaker opposition, let's say, all that really affords you, and we saw a lot of that in the first half, is time on the ball. It doesn't make the cross prettier, right? He still has to complete that. He still has to make that cross and put it on, on point. And that play, really, to me, the highlight there is Kalulu's in the box. That's how far up we are, right? Kalulu collects that pass from the midfield in the box and then forces it outside to space. For him to be up there, I think that's a because we saw that more than once. To me, that's a tactical move, and that bought Costa space, and that bought Cambiasso space on more than one occasion.
Yeah.
Quick note on that is there's a couple clear tactical intentional things that we saw from Juventus. Is when the ball's going down the right side, Kalulu was given the free rein to roam. Down the left, Lloyd Kelly, our left-sided center back, was given free rein to roam. We also saw long release balls into the channel in order to get the ball upfield quick and or initiate counterattacks and or release pressure. And so these are things we saw towards the end of the season as Tudor was able to implement his style. And I think these are things that we're going to continue to see. When you have players like Conceição, to kind of go back to my earlier question, that you can release to, who can hold the ball and or dribble to buy time or to simply to progress the ball upfield. I think it jives really well with what Tudor wants to do with what we've seen from their play.
Lloyd Kelly, the next great British defender to play for Juventus after who was the Welsh guy? Sir
John Charles.
John Charles. I was gonna say Bobby Charlton. I was like that's not accurate. But British names are kind of like British names. Yeah, I don't know. They all, I like a lot of things. I'm realizing with me. They all kind of that are foreign to my culture, all morph into one. Bobby Charles, Sir John Charles, Charlton, whatever. But yeah, Lloyd Kelly. I mean, every time I see that name lining up for Juventus Football Club, the great Agnelli ambassador to the world, the Agnelli family, the industrial club of Turin, Juventus Football Club, Fiat, Alfa Romeo, Ferrari, Juventus, Lloyd Kelly.
Yeah.
What a branding conundrum that is.
Giuntoli didn't hit. He messed up with that one.
No, I mean, I think there's two sides to that, Farhad. It's It's the fact that you get an English player in, and I think that's great. Honestly, I think it's always fun to get folks from different countries into our team. Certainly, it's not a country like England where we don't get a lot of players for Juventus. So I thought that was cool. I think the other side of it is Lloyd Kelly deserving of a place on Juventus based on his skill level, and I think that's where a lot of Juventus fans are balking at him.
Yeah.
If
We're gonna take an English player in a top flight situation abroad, if you're Dortmund, Bayern, Atletico Madrid, Milan, Inter, Juve, you want that guy to be a bona fide starter for the English national team. It's very odd, and not like Tomori, right, who was playing at Milan for a while, probably was deserving of a shout. Never got it because Gareth Southgate probably screwed up on that one. Some of the guys he was taking instead of Fikayo Tomori. It's not my axe to grind. I don't care about what the English national team does, but it's I think a lot of people kind of analyzed it that way. Lloyd Kelly's a guy who England lost, and they weren't like, oh, we're losing it. We lost Diego Coppola. Italy lost Diego Coppola, and we're all like, oh no, whatever will we do? England's like, what? Lloyd Kelly, right. Like Juve.
Let's speaking of
kidding, they're in a dire sitch.
Speaking of people who disappointed, so there's Coop. There's Vlahovic that came out. Who else?
Coop the Coop.
Cambiaso.
You think so too?
Cambiaso struggled with his position. Yeah, he just has never recovered that sort of control, positioning, and overall game influence that he had the first half of the season. And he seemed at times lost and sloppy. And so I was not surprised when you're leading 4-0 at half that he was the first guy taken off for a rotational sub, because he if anything was, in my opinion, a net negative. The only player that first half that was a net negative on our overall performance.
Send him to Porto Cervo. Send him to Ibiza. Send him to Mykonos. Put his feet up. It's been a long season. He's played a lot. Injuries. He's too good for this. Yeah, something's off. If he's off, send him on vacation. That's what I say. It's you. We're gonna see that, man, in July. If we go deep into the fucking tournament here and wind up playing in a quarterfinal, a semifinal, we're gonna see guys. We're gonna see guys army crawling over the finish line.
For some of those same reasons, I don't know if I'll get hate for this. I'll probably add McKennie to that list.
Send him to Mykonos. He's on the send him to Mykonos.
He looked a little tired to me. He looked a little gassed. I didn't see him in the box once, right? That's usually one of the strengths in his game, is making some of those late runs. Now, granted, they were turning the ball over a little further upfield, so he probably didn't have as many of those opportunities.
Two things on McKennie, though. I mean, one, from a positional standpoint, with a midfield of Turin, McKennie, both of whom like to go forward, someone had to sacrifice that forward inclination in order to maintain tactical balance, and McKennie seemed to be that guy. Additionally, on that front, the second-minute yellow card or whatever he got forced him to be a little bit more conservative. But despite being leggy, you know what? He played the whole game, right? I don't think he came out. So I think it's still there. I think that the thing you have to consider about McKennie is he's on a contract year, because we only extended him the 1 year. So he's also playing for a new contract either at Juventus or elsewhere. So even if he wanted to kick his feet up, I don't know if that would be wise.
And you know what, boys, McKennie doesn't strike me as a Mykonos guy. Maybe more of a Myrtle Beach, South Carolina type.
Okay.
Did you guys all see it?
I don't speculate on where he's going to holiday. I'd rather.
That's what I'm interested. That's what I'm interested.
Speculate on where he's playing next year.
All right, couple more things to finish up the podcast. I wanted to read a quote from Colomwani. I know we mentioned him. I lost the article. He says, it's never easy to win 5-0. We started well and we're happy. Now we have to just play well in the second match. We're already ready to focus on that. I mean, not much said there. Yes, I'm happy. Oh, he got the MVP of the game. I'm happy with this award, but what always matters is the team. I'm happy to have started like this. And he's right. It's super important in any tournament to start with a win, or at least not dropping points. So, I'm happy for him. Last thing I wanted to mention is I don't know if we're happy about it or not. I would like to go around the room, couple of seconds, couple of minutes each, and talk about Juventus announcing the renewal of its partnership with Adidas until. So we've been with them since 2015, 2016, and we are with them until 2037. Which sounds insane, but great, Sam. I can't believe I'm going to you, but give me a couple of your favorite kits by Adidas that I don't know if you're a kit guy. I don't know if there's
I'm the only guy on this podcast not wearing a kit right now. But
that's
but,
true.
but sure, let's
That's
ask,
all right.
what's my take on football kits? Is that why
Adidas versus Nike versus Kappa. Give me a couple of
Well, hang on. Why can't you believe you're going to me on this? What do you mean? You don't think I'd have anyone's take on it?
Because I don't have 40 minutes. Go ahead, buddy.
Okay. You want the executive summary?
Yes, sir. Give me a ChatGPT version.
Oh God. Come on, buddy. What are we doing here? The pod's already on Zoom. Now you want to incorporate ChatGPT responses.
Sam, what do you think about Adidas? What do you think about Adidas?
What's the bottom line? How much do they pay? I don't know. It'll never be as cool as we'll never have what we had. We'll never get another Lotto Juve kit deal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's over. We're going on tours we're playing in Orlando in June. It's what it is.
3 p.m.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so hot.
It's gonna be so hot.
You're gonna evaporate, Farhad.
I know. Well, I grew up in a 100% humidity, so humidity is nothing to me. I just want a good game, to be honest.
I'm not going to buy any of the Adidas stuff. Look, that's your answer. Like I buy stuff on AliExpress. I'm not going to buy. The only thing I would buy, original are the old things. That's the point I'm at now.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit older than when I started off on this channel years ago with you. I don't care about the new kit anymore. I don't know. It's one of those things that becomes less important the older you get. Who gives a shit? Just pay us. Pay us.
Our boys
back.
Boys growing up. I like it.
Yeah. I'm nostalgic now. I don't know. I like stuff that predates my time. I like the Nike kits that kind of, that were around when we started winning titles because it makes me happy. Pavlovian response, positive. I think of Antonio Conte. I think of agghiacciante quello che dicono. It makes me happy. But it'll never be again. All right, whatever. I'm a Nike guy. I like Nike boots when I play. Whatever. I don't care. Who cares?
Thank you, buddy. Jack, well, your thoughts on kits? I know you're sporting a
little old school. Well, I guess not really old school. My kids call this one old school because this is about when they were born. But my ChatGPT version, I guess. I don't know. I think I read somewhere that collectively with sponsorships and Adidas, at least with the current sponsorship numbers, kit's worth like 80 million to us every year, somewhere in that neighborhood. I think that's the most valuable kit in Serie A right now. That's kind of the angle I take. It's putting money in our pockets. I think last year they did a great job with the third kit. It looks like the third kit's going to be fire again this year. The second kit looks pretty good. It's more, I buy kits for my kids now more than for myself. I have my old collection, but they're all 90s kits, right? A couple 80s, 90s mixed in there. I've been a fan a long time. But yeah, I think they're putting money in our pocket, and that's what we need right now to try to keep up with some of the big clubs, not necessarily in Italy, but across Europe if we want to, rise to that level again.
Yeah. Who gets the privilege of making the kits to be sold to the new Juve fans in Korea? Who has the privilege? For 80 million euro a year, you could sell Juve's kits to children in Singapore.
I don't know what that means. Zach, what do you think?
Frankly, in any kit manufacturer, you're going to have some years or some kits that are good and some years and some kits that are bad. So instead of looking ahead and being grumpy about it or loving it, I'll respond to the kit on a kit by kit basis. How about that?
Do it. No, not now. In the future?
No. Yeah. So it's just I've got no control over it, and you're going to get a mixed bag with anybody. So I'll just take what comes, and I like what I like, and I don't like what I don't like. For instance, I thought the blues looked pretty cool on the pitch yesterday. The concept that we shared a long time ago and we've talked about on this podcast looks pretty awesome for the third kit. Do not like the asymmetrical barcode for the home kit, but that's just me.
You're withholding comment until further kits have been reviewed. You're not going to give us your opinion on the 2034, 2035 Juve kit until you've laid eyes on it.
Well, by then it will be like 1 stripe, 2 stripes.
Yeah, just
or 800 stripes.
The asymmetrical is just, it kills me too, man. I'm with you on that one. I mean, Juve
Picasso
is
painting.
stripes. Juve is stripes. Stop messing with it.
We should have one kit for 5 years. This is the next 5 years. Then I'll get excited. This is the 5-year plan. It's like a presidential term. This is the next 4-year kit. This is the next 4-year kit. We just a little bit of just the stripes go fat and the stripes go thin every 4 years. That's what it is. It's like a Republican Democrat. We shift from fat to skinny. Whatever the metaphor is for whatever. I don't know. I don't know. What
Zach, what do we got next? Juve's playing on Sunday. Give me a little breakdown of that.
If you don't mind, there are 2 things that I wanted to kind of mention about the game. I know that this episode's running a little bit long, but if you don't mind, one kind of point and then a question for the group. From the point is, one, we obviously played a team that struggled and that we dominated, but we showed one thing in this game that we haven't shown all year, and that was, and I'm still not sure if this is a word or not, a clinicality that we haven't seen all year.
I believe it's clinicacity.
The entire season of Serie A, and expected goals is not a stat I love, but it just gives you kind of a bearing. For the entire Serie A season, we outperformed our expected goals by the same amount we outperformed our expected goals yesterday. So in one game. So I think one thing to maybe hold, to not get ahead of ourselves on, is we were way more clinical with chances yesterday than we have been for an entire calendar year. And so you could see a scrappy Wydad Casablanca team come in and we squeak by 1-0 because our shooting boots have returned to where we've had them most of the season. So that's just something to keep in mind, and maybe having somewhat inflated our performance yesterday. And if there's no comments on that, which I'm definitely going to invite.
Just one. I think what'll be interesting, you mentioning Wydad Casablanca being maybe a little scrappy. I think realistically, I think it'll be probably more in the same. But one thing that I'm excited about, about this whole tournament, probably the thing that I'm most excited about, actually, a lot like the Nations League, watching I don't know, San Marino play Gibraltar. That's fun to me. It enables us to kind of get a barometer of what the real levels are at, all other things held constant. So there's a lot of big clubs in the Arab world. I was kind of talking about this before, and we kind of got away from it because I think we all desperately wanted to talk about the game, and I was going off on a tangent. But I like the big clubs in the Arab world. They're very important in their respective countries and towns. Raja Casablanca, Wydad Casablanca. What's that team in Alexandria or Cairo? They're in this tournament. They played in the opening game, not Al Ali in Egypt. A lot of very important clubs that maybe don't play each other a lot of the time. I mean, there's the African continental competitions are a real thing, but I don't know if there are Arab world continental competitions of any kind. I know there's national tournaments, there's the Arab Cup, but you won't really see a team from Qatar play a team from, say, Egypt much. It just won't happen. And I know this is kind of going off on a bit of a side tangent, but if you like football, this is kind of a cool externality of this tournament almost, is that you get to see shit like the best team from Qatar play the best team from Tunisia at some point. I mean, that isn't necessarily going to happen based on, the groups and such. But one time we actually will get to see that is Al Ain play Al Wydad. That'll be fun to see what the actual level difference is. Because we tend to think everything below Europe is just below Europe. But maybe we'll get to see where the better clubs are at, because the money's in the Middle East, but I feel like the talent's kind of in Africa.
I'm not against this tournament. It's always fun to see teams you don't know about. I mean, we've already seen a couple of supporters groups giving us a nice, in Philadelphia. I think it's actually the team you mentioned. They put on a great show. Boca Juniors, of course, their traveling fans are insane. They've been showing us awesome support throughout the tournament so far. So yeah, it's fun to see other teams, see other fans, how they travel. So the next game is against Wydad AC on Sunday, the 22nd of June. Of course, super important game. Win would be nice in case we do drop points against Manchester City at the end of the group stages. But we'll be here. We'll be here post game discussing that.
I'll
Boys,
be at the game. Send you some content if you want, Farhad. I'll be there.
Hell yeah. Where is that?
yeah, man. Yeah, tag us, please.
We're in Philly. Yeah, we'll be there. I'll be at the Fan Fest.
Right.
Well.
Philly. That's cool.
Sweet. Yeah.
Zach,
so
Zach had one last thing he wanted to say, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to ask you guys,
What's the second
and thanks for remembering, Sam. I was going to ask you guys what your favorite goal was. I mean, we did have 5. We didn't have the opportunity much this season to celebrate too many goals in particular games. So I thought maybe we just kind of pick a favorite because there were, I think, some pretty good candidates for some pretty damn good goals.
Can I go first? Colomwani, first one, broke the deadlock, but also just made me realize I played last night with my my team locally here, and it's very upsetting to play football with guys that are just overweight, running around, can't like finish a cross. It's nice to see viscerally. It feels good to see a guy go for a cross. You remember that headers could be scored by people that actually know how to play football. It's nice. I enjoyed that. I played football with guys who missed every cross last night. We got shut out 3-0. We were down 1-0. And then the other team had no subs. They went down to 10 men, scored 2 goals to go up 3-0. I was very upset. Came home, watched the game until 2 a.m, a replay of it. And I said, this is nice. Colomwani just showed me what football's supposed to be. Athleticism. Instead of me playing with fat guys from the West Island of Montreal. So that made me happy.
So which goal was it?
Every other goal felt
header?
sad. It was like, stop, he's dead. It's the same goal, cut in, goal.
Yeah, Sam went with the first goal. Jack?
I'd say the same. I'd go with the first goal just because of the team movement, passage of play. But I think also worth noting is Conceição's first, right? Not for him, but for Costa not giving up on that ball, right? How many players go down in the box to a bump like that and throw their hands in the air instead of turning around, getting up and trying to play that ball to a teammate? I think we see too much of that with the diving. So props to him for getting in the box like that and then not giving up on that ball and feeding the assist to Conceição.
In fact, that play is a goal because he didn't. Everyone else is throwing up their hands. Even some of the Juventus players. He got back up. He found Conceição who put it home, I believe, through the defender's legs. And so that's indicative of a player who doesn't care about the circumstances, but is pushing hard for the success of the team. And I you definitely applaud that.
Could you imagine Douglas Costa in that situation? Ooh, that's another Costa that we had. I don't think he would have played the ball. He would have quit. He would have said, take me off right now. But no,
I like
this young hungry lad.
I like the grit. I like the grit and, the height that Colomwani got to. Is a great goal, great header. I love me a good header. But let's not gloss over Yildiz and the placement. Like that, I love a shot from outside the box, and we don't see a lot of those.
Testament to how great a reliable player he's become. He scores that, and we just kind of don't even think about it really. Yep.
And it's his, I think, 6th debut goal, like in his first Coppa Italia game, and the stats are online. It's somewhere on my phone. I apologize for bringing it up, but he scored another on another debut.
I think one thing to keep in mind about that goal is even before the 25, 30 meter or however far he was out shot off the inside of the post is he's got one defender who's like hanging on him. And as a young guy, he bodies the defender to create that space and opportunity for himself, which is just when you think of a guy with his dribbling ability, you don't necessarily think of a 6'1" physical player. You just had to see him in the wall next to Chico when Al Ain had a free kick to see that he's like a head and a half taller than Chico. I mean, he's a big guy, and to have that technical ability on top of that physicality is just it's a unicorn. And so I think that goal was special to me because of that as well. Farhad.
Plus,
I have a very big testicles.
I gotta say, Zach, I'm a little bit of a tactics nerd sometimes, and I know you are as well. I appreciate listening to you for all these years. But one of the things I noticed, and correct me if I'm wrong, I got the sense, at least through the first part of the first half, that Tudor was almost tactically using Yildiz as like a decoy. right, to make space for Conceição, who kept pushing way out on the side. And I think he was afforded that. Well, he didn't have much space, but I think he was afforded that time on the ball because the defense recognized that he was being used as a decoy at one point. And that's why those two players collapsed on him, and he still managed to get around him.
You generally never want to use your best player as a decoy, as a tactical play, and a moment by moment. Yes, and in fact, we saw it several times this year where a good timely run from Yildiz created space for other people. I think what was really good for Juventus is recognizing the attention that Yildiz was drawing, and then switching, because we started the game playing down the left side with Yildiz and Cambiaso. Juventus, then I don't know if it was the player's recognition or Tudor kind of guided. I don't think we'll ever know. But you saw the play shift to the right to try something different, and that's when all the opportunities started happening, because the other team was spending a lot of their attention to try to stop our big guy. And we talked about it a lot this year, having that second threat with Vlahovic in the game we just never had. Having that second threat with Chico, and then a third threat with Colomwani really has the potential to unlock this Juventus team that we haven't seen.
I like the look he's rocking right now. GTA, the Scarface, the slit. Alberto Costa, doesn't he sound like a narco kingpin? Very, very powerful name. I would like it if Yildiz, his face, Alberto Costa's name, Federico Gatti's physique. That man's taken over. That man's taken over global narcotics.
GTA 6 Turin.
I'll let Sam do the fanfic on that one while I give my favorite goal. I think we've touched on 3 of the 5. I'm going to go for a 4th one. I think the Thuram release to Colomwani in stride, who then outside of the foot slots it far post, is sort of is one fantastic individual performances from both of them. Thuram demonstrating, as he did a few times this season, a more expanded passing range than maybe he's known for. And then Colomwani with the deft finish, I think also shows the type of release that Tudor's looking for when we're pressured. So I think all in all, not to undersell the 5th goal from Chico, we were treated to some really good goals and a relaxing win for the first time in what seems like forever.
Very nice.
Very nice. All right, boys. Thank you so much for joining us. Jack, we really enjoyed having you on for the first time. Sam, love you, buddy. Zach, as always, you're the man. My name is Farhad. Please, watch this on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Follow the game, the post game with us. We will have a podcast. And if, like I said, if you're in Orlando, look me up. Let's have some fun. Boys, thank you so much. As always, especially you guys who are going to be watching Juve in the southern parts of the United States. Stay hydrated. Check on your friends, and Forza Juve.
Yeah, siamo finiti in B, gli unici a pagare per calciopoli. Yeah, e qui non ci piove, che nel cuore gli scudetti sono 29. Voglio tutto e tutti, solo per seguirti. Bianco nero, bianco nero, bianco nero, bianco nero. Un solo grido, dalla curva si alzerà. Bianco nero, bianco nero, bianco nero, bianco nero. Per 29 volte campioni d'Italia, per niente e nulla al mondo abbandonerò sta squadra. Tra tutte quante di fissa più stile, storia una